Nixon, John Lennon, economic crisis, and Disney World. It was 1971. Cigarette ads were just banned in the US, Jim Morrison of The Doors had just passed away, and the Beatles were newly broken up. John Lennon was unfortunately starting his solo career. Everything was doomed. I can only imagine, I wasn't there. In the midst of all the LSD and John Lennon of the 70s, there was hope. The publication of The Amazing Spider-Man, issues 96 to 98. In 1954, German psychiatrist Frederick Wertham published a book called Seduction of the Innocent, in which he argued that comic books were the leading cause of corruption in the youth of America, including the rising rates of juvenile delinquency. Thus came the creation of a Comic Code Authority, or the CCA, as I'll be referring to it. The CCA was a set of guidelines that all comic books released in America had to follow. Vampires, werewolves, and the undead were to be shown. Words like horror and terror were to be depicted in titles. Policemen, judges, government officials, and respected institutions weren't to be depicted in a way that might create disrespect for such institutions. In 1971, Stan Lee wrote a 3-issue Spider-Man comic that was a huge no-no for the CCA. He published it anyway, without the approval stamp of the CCA, and in a way, broke the seal. Spider-Man is now known as one of the major death knells of the code. The code to me represents a lost opportunity to reaffirm creativity and freedom in art, but it was defunct by the time I was born. The code only really came to affect me 3 years later in 1974, when an artist was born in a small town in Illinois. He would later go on to attend the Savannah College of Art and Design for sequential art, or comic book art, and then moved to Atlanta, Georgia, where he would get married and have 2 kids. For as long as I can remember, my favorite artist, and as far as anyone was concerned, objectively the best artist, is my dad. When I was little, I used to sit in the garage with my sketchbook and try to copy whatever he was drawing. He thought it was very important that I develop my own sense of creativity and art style, but I was very focused on reflecting his. He taught me the importance of being creative and making cool stuff, and my art has always felt respected by him. Not just me and the things I created, but things I was passionate about, like movies. He doesn't like to watch my favorite movies with me because I get excited and talk about them a lot. But he will do it anyway, even if that means driving me into the movie theater to watch movies like Saw. He didn't like it, but he was really good at pretending he did. Just last semester, he drove all the way here from work because I wanted to recreate a very specific photo for photography class. And he wasn't even upset when he found out that that specific photo was of John Lennon. I've grown to enjoy seeing my childhood as a little comic book comprised of his sketchbooks and sculptures, his ridiculously, amazingly detailed homemade Halloween costumes, and his stupid drawings of our dog on Post-it notes scattered around the house. I look at his art and I see a reflection of who I was, who I am, and who I have the potential to be, and I hope that he can look at mine and see himself looking back.